Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's Vlogmas video is going to be 3 appetizers that you can make in less than 30 minutes. These can work well for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, for New Year's Eve, which is coming up. Now, one of them is a Christmas tree shaped appetizer. You can just change the shape to match whatever holiday you are having. And then we're going to be doing a cheesy Christmas tree bread, a cheese ball, which I get requests for it every holiday. If I don't make the cheese ball, then I am in trouble. So this is a tried and true recipe. I have been making this for at least 15 years. And then I'm doing a layered dip. Now I did change this up a little bit. It's supposed to be a 7-layer dip, but there's some layers I did not add on, but you can make it however you want to make it. So we did this nice little layered dip. So we're going to go into the first recipe, which will be the cheesy Christmas tree bread. Like I said, though, you can make this into whatever you want. You could do a square, you could do a circle, do whatever you want, but you do want them to be touching. So that's the only thing, but change the shape up. For the cheesy bread, you're going to need a 13-ounce can of pizza crust. You want to get the classic regular pizza crust, not the thin one. You want to do 6 to 7 sticks, mozzarella sticks, 1 egg, and you'll add some water to that to make an egg wash, 3 tablespoons of melted butter, a half of a cup of grated Parmesan, which you're going to divide. And then you can either use Italian herbs like I'm using, or you could do parsley, rosemary, and basil like the recipe calls for. And then I'm adding garlic paste. I believe the original recipe calls for minced garlic or something like that. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to cut your pizza dough into 30 pieces, which mine came out to way more than 30 pieces. And you also need to cut your mozzarella sticks into 30 little pieces. So each stick I cut into about 6 pieces. So I actually only needed 5 sticks. But I did actually end up using more, as you'll see, because as we go through this process of making these little balls, which if you have little kids or you have grandkids or something, I would highly recommend maybe them doing this part because I think they would have fun doing it. And it's easy because it took the longest out of anything in this entire video. This took the longest besides the actual baking of the balls. But anyway, so I just started wrapping them around, and I did make the mistake of adding in a couple of pieces of cheese into some of them because I felt like they were bigger pieces of dough, but those ones tended to, I noticed, exploded. So just do 1 piece. Don't be tempted to do more than 1. And then since I'm doing the Christmas tree shape, this is how I'm doing mine. Now you want to do a piece of parchment paper that you spray with cooking spray. That way we don't want it to stick. Plus, I wanted to transfer this to a different board. I didn't want to serve it on this, and so I wanted to spray it really well so I knew I could just slide it right off after it was done cooking. So I'm just placing the balls on here again. Like I said, I'm just doing it into a Christmas tree shape, but you can do whatever you want, just make sure they're touching. So again, as you can see, I did end up adding in a whole nother row after I had the leftover pizza dough. I didn't want to waste it in the cheese, so I ended up with 8 rows and the 2 little bottom ones at the bottom. And now I'm just taking the egg wash, so I just added in a couple tablespoons of water with a full egg, and I just whisked it all together. And then I'm just I think what this does, and let me know if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure what this does is kind of makes a nice little like brown layer on your dough is what I think it's for. I don't know. I just did it because that's what the recipe said. But I just kind of spread it on there. I never know how much to put on whenever I'm doing an egg wash. I feel like it's such a waste of egg because you only use just a little bit. This is going to go into a 400-degree oven for 16 to 18 minutes. My particular oven, it took about 17 minutes to cook through. My oven is so uneven. You'll see that when it comes out. While that is in the oven, we're going to go ahead and do our little topping. So I melted the butter in the microwave. I'm adding in a 1/4 cup of the Parmesan cheese. I felt like a 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese was way more than what you needed. I actually did not use it all. So I did put a 1/4 cup in this little thing with the herbs and the garlic paste and the melted butter. But as you'll see when we're all done here, I did not put all of it all over. I just felt like it was just so much. Anyway, just whisk this all together. And as soon as the balls come out of the oven, here they are. You see how uneven my oven is? It's crazy. Like, I don't know what you do about that. Anyway, we are going to take your brush here and we're just going to brush that. And since I had so much, I just really covered them with the melted butter and the Parmesan cheese. But again, I could see the Parmesan cheese like sitting on top. And so I did not put as much on there. But as you can see also, I had a little bit of cheese spillage there. And I think when I kind of traced them, I think I traced them to the ones that I did put 2 pieces of cheese in each ball. So you just have to be careful Make sure you're sealing them really good. I may not have sealed them very well as either, because I was trying to just roll them and then I was trying to seal them at the same time. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and sprinkle on now some of that Parmesan cheese. Again, I had another 1/4 cup, but I only used probably half of this, but I think you could just do whatever you want to do. I am serving mine with a sun-dried tomato pesto and also some pizza sauce. You can serve it with whatever you want, and I put mine on this board. So this is how I will serve it. And I'll just get some little cups to put the sauce in there. And you guys, this smelled so good. So definitely give this one a try. The recipe will be linked down below in the description box. Next up, we're going to make my tried and true cheese ball. This originally came from a Ritz cracker recipe. So we have 2 packages of cream cheese, 1 package of sharp cheddar cheese, a 1/2 cup of grated Parmesan, a 1/2 cup of mayo, pepper, and you want to use green onions, some bacon bits. And I don't actually really measure out the bacon bits. And it is so easy, you guys. You're just going to combine everything but the bacon bits. So you're going to put everything into a bowl. And honestly, the easiest way to do this is to just mix it with your hands. So I did not show that part, but you want to just like maybe put some gloves on or something and mix it with your hands. And then what I do is I sprinkle the bacon bits on the plate that I'm going to use to serve it on. And then I just kind of take the ball and I just roll it around. And you just kind of press it, just kind of carefully. You'll just kind of press them in there until your ball is all covered. And then you're going to put this in the refrigerator for probably about an hour. So you can serve it right away, but it definitely tastes better if you have it at least an hour. I like to make it the day ahead from when we're going to have it. So I do recommend doing it the day ahead, because then everything just gets nice and melded together and it gets kind of hard and it tastes so good. So highly, highly, highly recommend this recipe. I will have the recipe linked down below because I did find it on the Ritz website. And I serve mine with Ritz crackers, Wheat Thins, and Triscuits. Those are my favorite crackers. And I just remembered I actually got this recipe originally from my son's babysitter, and she's the one that gave it to me. So it was about 15, 16 years ago. And then I remember her telling me it came from like the back of a Ritz box, and that's what made me go look at the Ritz cracker website, and that's where I found it, or whatever their thing is. But I'll have it linked down below. Next up, we're going to make a 7-layer dip, only mine's not 7 layers. You're going to need 30 ounces or 29 ounces, whatever the big cans of refried beans, you need one of those, a cup of salsa, 2 cups of guacamole, 16 ounces of sour cream, a ranch dip packet, 2 cups of shredded cheese, and then also what you can add on is some green onion, some diced tomatoes, and some olives. I am not an olive fan, and so I never buy them, so I didn't think about it, and I forgot to buy tomatoes and more green onions. So this is what I use. I use pico de gallo for it. So first up, we want to take your refried beans, and now you can really make this Weight Watcher friendly really easily. So instead of using regular refried beans, you could use fat-free refried beans here. And I think that is 0 points still. Is it still 0 points on Weight Watchers? I cannot remember, but you could definitely make this super Weight Watcher friendly, and I'll tell you all the tips as I go along. So you could, like I said, use fat-free refried beans for this. We're going to add in our salsa. So it said to use 1 cup of salsa, but I'm just kind of doing it based on what I think to put in there. And again, salsa, 0 points on Weight Watchers. So as long as you pick one that doesn't have any extra, like a lot of extra added stuff, but most salsa is 0 points on Weight Watchers. So just stir that around, keep adding some in, I think, until you get it the consistency and the amount that you want to put in there. Now, again, you could add in some spicy salsa. Do it definitely based on your family's likes. Now, I did mild because that's most of the people in my family like mild salsa. So I'm adding in mild, and I also know I could not get away with all the Weight Watcher friendly tips with my family. So that's why I'm doing it regular. Here's another tip. Instead of using sour cream like I'm using, you could use 16 ounces of plain non-fat Greek yogurt, which would be 0 points. You could do that. I'm just using regular sour cream. And then you want to add in your ranch dip. Now, the recipe where I got this from, it actually calls for using the Fiesta Ranch. I went to 3 stores. None of my stores had the Fiesta Ranch. Is that even around anymore? I kind of wonder if it is, because I couldn't find it anywhere. And I mean, there's a lot of different places you can get ranch, and I went to, like I said, 3 different places and I could not find it. But if you can find the Fiesta Ranch, that's what's recommended. Now we're going to start doing our layers. So I just have a clear bowl here. It does call to put into a 9 by 13 baking dish, but I wanted to be able to see the layers for this video, and so everybody could see that it was a layered dip when they go to eat it. So this is a pretty big round casserole dish, and I thought I would have much left over, but I actually did not. I actually was able to fit most of it in there. So first you want to layer on your refried beans. The next layer is going to be the guacamole. So I'm just using this entire container of guacamole. Again, you can make this really spicy by getting like a spicy guacamole, but I just got like a regular guacamole. Again, guacamole is not very high points. You could also make your own guacamole, which would probably even lower the points more because you're controlling what goes in it. But I think most guacamole scans about the same as avocado. So yeah, you could definitely make your own, or you can buy it like I did. And the next layer is going to be your sour cream ranch mixture. And again, just want to go ahead and just put that all over the top. I was really surprised how sturdy everything was. I was kind of expecting it to possibly, kind of mix into each other, but I was really surprised. Everything was pretty cold. That's why I left everything in the refrigerator right before, because I thought maybe if it was colder, it'd be a little sturdier, and that seemed to do the job. Next up is the cheese layer. Now it calls for 2 cups of cheese, which is this entire bag. But again, I think because my dish here is a little bit smaller than what the original recipe calls for, I did not think 2 cups was called for, so I did not do the entire bag. But the recipe does call for 2 cups. So I did probably about 1.5 cups is what I ended up putting on top of this. Now this next layer is when you would normally put on your olives, your tomatoes, and your green onions would be like the next 3 layers. But I am just using this pico de gallo. It's basically the same thing. We have onions, we have tomatoes, we just don't have olives. So that's what I'm going to put on mine. Again, I feel like you can just change it up and make it however you want, but this turned out so beautiful. Look at the different layers here. Does not look so good? And so easy, you guys, and so quick. I am serving this with scoops, Frito scoops, and with tortilla strips. This came together so quickly, so I highly recommend doing this recipe. And I felt like at first, like, does this go with Christmas? But I thought, you know what, it's a bean dip. Like, you can have that anytime. So thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video and watching all of these super easy 3 appetizers that you can make under 30 minutes. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.